Welcome back, everyone. I'm big, I'm definitely in frame, and my name is Lookers Turbo. We're excited for this second semi-final. I mean, look, things are scuffed. I mean, I've lost all my producers. You can't expect any kind of quality from me when I'm forced to do my own production because I don't know how OBS works properly, Mockfish. It's not my fault, but you know who do know how things work is our players, the drivers in this second semi-final. Why don't you run us through the list of who it is again?
Yeah. We're back, and yeah, that's why we normally have deployer. Please, we need deployer. Someone bring us deployer. Someone bring us deployer, please. We need him, otherwise it's scuffed. But no, we have our second semi-final here, same mode as before. It's going to be Hazard, Lucas Turbo, Nalax, Rin, Xera, Edis, Techie, and I believe that's everyone.
Yeah, that sounds like everyone to me. I think we were kind of looking down the list of players trying to figure out who exactly we were favoring coming into this one. I mean, obviously, it has to be it has to be Turbo. I keep saying Lookers instead, which is what people do to my name all the time as well. It's fine, but that's only because he was on broadcast. Which, I mean, they should. It is the noun in my name rather than the adjective. So, you know, like, I mean, but...
yeah, but no, also no one speaks Irish.
Like, yeah, well, that's not a me problem, right? Like, that's
it
not a me
sounds very
problem.
much like a you problem, mate. I'm sorry. I mean, I could start calling you New Lake if you want.
Yeah, that's the Discord server we're in right now. Don't tell anyone. But the important thing is we were trying to look down our list of exactly who we do think is favourite. I think Xera coming in as one of the top seeds for it, looking good. Hazard, just by benefit of being RPG guy, has played in most of the mini RPGs of the week as well. Mocked, I'm going to take us into game here, but I don't know. Are you're feeling it kind of similar things, or that's the way I think I'm leaning? Is probably Hazard is just a good driver and on it, but there's definitely some surprises left available. I mean, both of us a little bit blindsided by Jean Rene in the last one, just because we're not as up on the community, maybe as Turbo was.
we might not just be not be part of the community for like 10 years or so. We still have to acquire that knowledge, but yeah, Hazard. I think Hazard is there on consistency of being, you know, good driver. Then, I mean, Techie could be a surprise candidate for me. Techie, obviously, the khaki god. He's just, I mean, he's won khaki this year. Like, what? First of all, what is he on? Second of all, how can you grind khaki maps? That just seems ridiculous to me. And third of all, he's already taking the lead during the warm-up here and looks very fast and very comfortable. So, maybe Hazard and Techie to go through from this one.
You do have to feel like, I mean, if there is any kind of two styles of Trackmania that might share skill sets, like mini RPG and khaki are probably at least approaching it, right? It's just knowing how your car will react in weird situations, being able to throw it through its paces. It's not about being able to take a tech turn perfectly, knowing the angle that you need to enter your drift and calculating wind speed before you start. It's just about throwing your car at the wall and seeing what sticks. And yeah, like you say, Techie may be a good bet for maybe outside chance, but either way, we're underway with our first round of our first map. We're back to Hellish Dream, and as you were saying kind of off the air as well, it is, we get a bit of a ramp up in terms of the wildness of the maps over the course of these rounds.
Chaos will only increase with every passing map. You know, this one, Hellish Dream, it does sound the most violent one, but it's actually a very soothing map. It's actually not going to be like that difficult. It's more about being consistent here, in regards of, you know, the map isn't necessarily gonna make you fail. It's you yourself that's going to make you fail. Whereas with some other maps, that's not necessarily the case.
Yeah, I absolutely just jumped on board with Xera in time to see them fail a little bit on that middle section, that kind of awkward jump or choice to go around the outside. Didn't go well for them, but right now it's a close battle for first place on this one. Reen is just behind. Techie won't manage to snipe at the end. Hazard will take a third place. He just crossing line in fourth, and Xera still comes home with a fifth place. Probably worth noting at this point as well that unfortunately Azion has not been able to join us this afternoon, so we will be racing with 7 players from minute 1 here in our second semi-final.
Unlucky, of course, just 7 players here, but Nalax just getting it in 10 seconds before the DQ timer would have given him a 0 points. But Xera, we might as well just add, he finished second overall in the campaign hunt. So to finish second overall, obviously, great achievement. But it's again the same question that I've posed towards the end of our last round with Enix. Is that just gonna be? Is that just placebo? Is that is that just because you had the most amount of time, or are you actually one of the best players here? That's still a question for me that Zera has to answer, as he's currently sitting in P2 and chasing down Rin.
Yeah, and meanwhile, the two players near the top of the start as well, Techie and Hazard, both poor starts to this round. Hazard, though, has managed to regain, has managed to catch back up a little bit, and it is close behind our leaders for the moment. It is this middle section that catches a few people out. It's deceptive, as there is this choice there, or will catch on the edge, as to whether to go over the top or around the outside. Hazard goes over the outside, but is having to spend a lot of time just getting speed to get over the top of that one, and now is falling behind. Rin a long way in front on this round, just needs to not fail on the finish. And can anyone make a snipe happen behind as well? That's
you say not fail.
Oh, it's close. It's close. He's still going to get there. Looks like in plenty of time. Hazard there, and it's very, very close behind there, as Lucker's Turbo will snipe out Edis at the very end.
Lucker's Turbo getting himself a P3 there, but Hazard and Rin right now seem to be the most consistent players on Hellish Dream, but of course it's only round 2 on this map, and it's only the first map, so still plenty of time. Rin taking a bit of an early lead here. Let's see if the Japanese driver can do so again to head into round 3. And Rin, what I've been seeing is a bit on the slower side on the start, but he just ramps up during the round, and he actually makes a big mistake in the beginning, dropping all the way back to P7.
Yeah, unfortunately I missed it. I was jumping just forward to see what was going on near the front, and yeah, Rin just out of frame, making that mistake, as Hazard now is sitting there. Hazard has looked consistent in the first couple of rounds here, has gotten decent finishes in the first 2, but hasn't really been looking to threaten a win just yet, hasn't been looking incredibly fast. Maybe this is the round to do so. Techie, though, is right behind Zera, and these are two players who, as we said, are very fast. There is a mistake from Turbo. All 3 of the players up front go over the top as we head towards this last big quarter pipe jump.
Last big quarter pipe, and Hazard in the chase, 4/10 behind Zera and Techie, who are both battling for the better exit here of that ramp. I think Techie carries a lot more speed through it. Can he keep it through the plastic? Good turn by Zera. I think he's just a little bit too far in front. He is 1.5 tenths the difference in the end there between Zera and Techie, and Hazard will take another P3. Lucky's Turbo only P5. Rin with his slowest finish yet, over a minute in P4. The rankings, obviously, at this point in time, they don't really mean anything just yet.
Yeah, we're a long way yet to go. Still 4 maps, still 1 round left on Hellish Dream. I'm enjoying being back on Hellish Dream. This was our first official week of Mini RPG of the week. And, I don't know, it's nice to be back. It's nice to remember what things looked like back then.
It's like, a trip down memory lane, and then we get to the newer maps, and everything is just chaos.
It's like, oh yeah, I remember when this happened last week, 2 weeks ago. We're still seeing mistakes at the start, though. I believe it was Turbo who crashed out at this time around at the very beginning. That's a tough start to this one, but it is still very, very close between the other players up near the front. Hazard, continuing on, is currently sitting in a 2nd place, as you said, just off pure consistency. Edis, with a bit of a slowdown in that drift, will now need to go a bit higher to get speed back. And once again, we head towards this middle section, and I think after this, you start to really get a sense of exactly how the standings are going to go. There goes Zera, tripping over an edge, and Hazard trying to chase down Techie, as Edis gains a place by going around the outside and joins back with a lot more speed, chasing down those top 2.
Yeah, Edis, but I think he's a little bit too far behind. Techie and Hazard are going to battle this out for P1 and P2. Techie just, what a clean jump from Techie. And unfortunately, that's the one thing without having deploy. We're not following the same people, so we can't really see what's going on. I see different things than what the stream sees. But in the end, we all see the same result, and that is Hazard being in P2, not being able to chase down Techie quickly enough. And Rin having another nightmare round here in P7.
All falling apart a little bit there for Rin on the last couple of rounds on Hellish Dream. Exactly what happened to Edis is something that happened to me when I was trying to replay these maps a little bit during the week and a little bit yesterday, which is over jumping the quarter pipe. It's a risk because it's a difficult quarter pipe. It's a very awkward angle, having to angle yourself to go through that ring checkpoint as well. And he just kind of landed and then fell off the other side. And I've done that plenty of times myself. I feel the pain. It's a tough one, but we don't have to worry about that anymore, Mocked. We are on to our 2nd map. We're heading towards Oreo again.
It is back on Oreo, another minute warm-up, so the players can re-familiarize themselves with the map, and this time a minute is actually enough to finish the entirety of the map. So if you're a player, you gotta appreciate it. But here, this section, the ring checkpoint, Turbo mentioned it earlier, it's the most difficult one because the respawn is going to be so brutal.
Yeah, the respawn is tough. I'm watching Edis restart and just ignore the first checkpoint repeatedly. And I'm hoping he's not going to do it in rounds as well, right? There is a checkpoint that you have to go to there, Edis. It's not a right turn off the start. I'm sure he knows. I mean, he's made it to this competition. It's probably fine, right?
It's fine. Like, we don't have to worry. This is as much hopium as I can muster.
Yeah. What's interesting as well about this second semi-final mocked is just we can keep an eye now. We have the local records from the first semi-final. We can see how this semi-final is starting to stack up against it. I didn't really manage to call that out in the last one, but maybe something to keep an eye on. You know, Orel with the time of 42.5 seconds in the previous semi-final. Can anyone get close to it this time around? And look, Edis does know which way to go. This is good news for Edis fans.
Good news for Edis fans, bad news for Hazard fans, as he's immediately failed the first jump down onto that quarter pipe landing. So he will be far behind. Xera and Techie right now in the lead, and follow them is Lucas Turbo. Turbo, I mean, after I'd say a disappointing map one, he's still within striking distance, of course, because it's just been the first map, but he needs some stronger results now if he wants to have any shot at making top 2.
Yeah, and he's sitting pretty comfortably in the top 3 right now on this round, as they are a little bit in front of Hazard, who is regained to get back into that position. It looks like it will just be a cruise to finish there. Our first, second for Techie. Turbo takes a third, and then waiting to see who comes in behind them. Hazard, as we said, a long way back, has now crossed the line, though. Rin will take a 5th, as things continue to not go incredibly well for the driver in the Japanese car. But it is slightly better than maybe some of the last rounds were there on Hellastream. Taking a quick look at the scoreboard, though, it is Techie, though, continuing to get out to a lead. And you did a good job mentioning before we started on Hellastream that maybe Techie was a player to keep eyes on in this one.
I mean, yeah, Techie is showing that maybe there is some merit to what you said, that RPG, if there are 2 stars that are a bit comparable, it might be just RPG and Kaki for the amount of car control you have to exert and the precise positioning. The positioning that RPG requires in front of some of those jumps. And Techie, obviously a player that's going to be very familiar with that, is not going to be in the top 5 of this starting round, as Lucas Turbo is getting a bit of the landing bug, so speed penalty for him. He's now finding himself in P7, but the field still very much close together.
Yeah, this is an incredibly close round. In fact, Turbo has already managed to catch back up to Edis, the player in front, and they're going to be trading places right to the end. On board with Nalix as he overtakes a couple of players at that finish line. Rin will take a second place. Nalix coming just behind. Hazard kept his nose clean, better than anyone else. Takes a 42.452. We asked as well how these rounds were going to compare to the first semi-final. That is within 4 thousandths of a second of the time set by RL. That was the best time in the previous semi-final. So comparable speed so far mocked between both of these semi-finals.
There was the thought that maybe Group 2 was a bit weaker overall than Group 1, but Hazard and everyone else in this group firmly putting those suggestions to bed with a very, very strong round. And now a lot of mistakes there. At the ring checkpoint, only 3 or 4 players getting there clean. It's Xera, it's Rin, and it's Hazard. We're currently fighting for P1, P2, and P3 by Xera, with about a 4/10 lead coming into the latter half of this map.
Yeah, that is a pretty big lead to build up already. It's a short map. It's the shortest one we have this evening, but it is a big lead on it. Hazard trying to chase down Nalix again. Has done well. Hazard with a big crash. Xera with a bit of a crash as well. Nalix has speed, trying to get to the finish. Won't catch Xera at all, but it is a big crash as Hazard goes into free fall down the standings on that round. Ends up with a 6th place. Will still finish in front of Techie. Techie, though, will get a finish. And at least he got the finish. That would be a big point loss, but it is still a big point loss for Hazard. 30 points basically go missing there for him.
Yeah, and Nalix, especially if it was just a little bit closer, he had the speed. He had the speed there in the last round to get that win from Xera. Not able to do so. The leaderboard is still in a state of chaos. Everyone really close together, and that's the thing. I think while this field might be maybe a little bit weaker, in regards to the top players, it's a lot closer together. We didn't have these sort of chaotic rounds where everyone just gets a win. Everyone is able to get a P1, P2, P3. So if you look at the leaderboard, P1 to P7 within 100 points.
Yeah, it's incredibly close. We definitely had some chaotic rounds in the last match, but they waited until maps like Rackham, maps like Crystal Mines before they started, so I'm worried about what happens on those. Hazard has recovered well from early mistake. Lucas, Turbo, and Edis. It's going to be so close. Does Edis have the speed? Not quite. Less than half a tenth of a second, though, between them at the end of that one. Hazard hasn't caught up, but given that he nearly tripped over his wheels going through the ring checkpoint, given that he nearly fell off the map entirely, taking a fourth there, you'll be happy with that. Hazard stays near the top positions as Zerar manages to regain with those 100 points, and Techie has had some rough rounds. The player who's in second is now going to drop behind Zerar, who leapfrogs his way to the top of the leaderboard. Hazard safe in second for the moment.
Hazard safe in P2, but Xera with a very strong map on Orion. This, ladies and gentlemen, is where the fun begins. We are going to the blood-stained plastic turns and dirt turns of Wrexham. Wrexham? Oh, that's a rocket team.
Yeah, no, Wrexham is that's a football team. That
who
is
also have
owned by
rocket
Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney.
I didn't know that, but education. See, we do have educational purposes in esports. People that say like we just game and we don't educate ourselves, they're just talking out of their arse. So we're going into Rackham by TI Music, and let's see if it's going to be a similar bloodbath than it was in the last semi-final.
Yeah, we're just going to hopefully get things sorted as well. Players pointing out in chat that currently it says we are on map 3. That's incorrect. We should be going all the way. But yeah, Rackham going to be an awful lot of fun. This was where things started to get messy last time around, I think. Players aware that this map could be dangerous, we got in, and the first thing Hazard did was hit us with the minus in chat. And then just to make sure that we understood, hit us with the minus. But this could be a point, and Hazard is currently sitting in second place. It's not a safe second place. Techie just behind him as well. And we talked about it, Techie, the khaki god. Like, this could be, I think, described as the closest to khaki we have, with lots of reactor tricks, a lot of bug slides, lots of funky turns and transitions all the way through. We'll see how that works out for Techie. We'll see how it works out for Hazard, who will be trying to hold on to this top 2 position leaving this map.
Yeah, and we spoke with Torbo just before he left us and going to play in this one. He said, I just don't want to pull a Marius here on this map. I just want to keep it clean, want to keep it safe, and not just throw away my opportunities. As Hazard has a very, very strong plastic turn there. That's so fast. He's got a lead over Techie, but Techie, the inside line there, getting past Hazard, neither of them crashing. But now, of course, the bug slide, the one defining element of this map, and Hazard sliding out.
Hazard slides out, and Alex follows him over the edge as well. Maybe just following Hazard's line, trusting him. He's like, yeah, that's the right one. Just went straight off. Rin has so much speed through the middle section, overtakes Techie in that section as well. And now Zerar is the player sitting in third, but Techie is trying to regain, and it is so close between Zerar and Techie. They both jump lower than Rin on that one as well. It's going to be a dash to the finish line. Rin is held onto with more speed. Don't fail it now. Zerar will make it through near tenths after Rin. Techie is close as well. Hazard regains to within a tenth too. And what a round that was. I say to within a tenth. He was 2 seconds behind the top 3. I was only looking at the last digits.
I mean, but the top 3 are within a tenth, and that is ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. Rin, but regaining though, getting himself back into that top 2 fight, and look at that, 40 points between Zara and Rin, and then Rin another 40 points clear of Lucas Turbo in P5. It's so close, and this might be a map where a lot of misfortune can come your way, and where you can start to lose really the grip, start to lose your contact with the top 2 places.
Yeah, this is where the gaps really started to open last time. It feels like this could happen again. Hazard was really quick through the middle section of the map last time, but then a mistake in the middle cost him all of that time. This time not as quick, but still within striking distance, and we've seen this map cost people. Rin with a bit of mistake. This is going to be very difficult for him now in the middle. Trying to keep the speed up, will manage to make it through, but has lost contact with the top 3 as a result. This time around, Hazard manages to get through the bug slide cleanly, and he is still just behind the top 2. Zerar and Techie, though, they're out to a lead. The nameplates disappear underwater, and there they go, popping back up. Techie still trailing, but it's not by much.
Techie within 0.2 of a second of Zera. It's just, and that time going to be easily made up, especially if Zera fails, does the Marius. He fails the quarter pipe jump, and Techie just going to cruise home to an easy P1, but who's going to take P2? It's going to be Hazard. Zera recovers for a P3. That's the sort of mistakes that you have to be looking at. That's the sort of mistake that you want to punish. Lucas Turbo way too far away to punish any mistakes happening at the front. And Edis, is he going to finish? He's got 10 seconds to make the risky finish work. Do not fail. Do not fail. Nah. Clean.
Yeah, pretty clean indeed it was, as mentioned as well. A very nice time up top by Techie. Sets the current local record on the map. And, I mean, hey, that's looking strong. That's a good feeling here in the second semi-final, because Rackham has been a turning point for these maps so far. So whoever comes out of this one may be feeling okay about it, as we will continue on into another round on Rackham, as we will continue to see if this top three, Zera, Techie and Hazard, have looked clean. They've looked consistent on the map so far. Can they keep that up?
Can they keep that up? And their fourth player, Rin, has just had a horrible nightmare at the start, already bunking against the first checkpoint. Now Hazard finding himself in P4, currently behind Techie and Zera, who I think expect to be there at this point. But Lucas Turbo joining them in P3, looking for a strong finish, maybe wanting to make up some of those points that he's currently trailing those three players before him. Doesn't get airtime. Good car control from Lucas Turbo as he's now going into the swimming pool. The nameplate's again going out. He's just edging ever closer to Zera, though.
Yeah, getting a little bit closer, but it is Techie pulling away with the lead here, and just no fail at the end here. This time around, Zera, he will go a little bit safer, goes a little bit higher, and Turbo goes high as well. That's maybe open the door for Hazard. Turbo has speed, heading towards the finish line, needs to get the finish, gets it nice and cleanly, and it's a great race at the end there. Hazard getting within striking distance on the tail end of Turbo by going for the low jump, but Turbo with the speed holds on to his third as Techie takes another first.
Techie not only takes another first, it's the first time in the 103s today. It is the local record today by 2.5 of a second. So we hypothesized before if this was the man for the Kaki god, and well, it seems like it is.
Yep, he's been doing all right so far here on Rackham. Turbo with a very interesting jump. It's worked out for him. He has speed, but then a little bit too inside. Forced to release and forced to go back around that checkpoint. Has dropped a little bit down the pack for the time being. And so we'll jump on board with Zera, who is sitting in 4th place at the moment, but we've seen this kind of finish he can have at the back of the map. Right now, Rin with a lead. Zera overtaking with a better landing than anyone else in the middle of the track. Trying to gain on Rin, and we get towards a bug slide. Who gets this one nice and cleanly? Rin goes through. It is very slow for Techie. Zera gets a lot of airtime, but still manages to recover. And Rin somewhere crashing out along the way.
Yeah, Rin, unfortunately, a little bit too wide there on the exit of the corner, falling off the platform. And that means he surely had to double respawn. Zera now taking a commanding lead, 5/10 over Techie. But Hazard still hunting. Hazard still hunting Techie. He doesn't have enough speed, though, to come back after the quarter pipe jump. Zera will take a P1, Techie P2, and Hazard in P3. Lucas Turbo recovering for a P4 finish.
Yeah, pretty clean P4 finish for Turbo. Rin looking so good early in that map, and then just not quite able to hold it the entire way through. Still finished okay, but you can see the big time loss that came from having to double respawn on that bug slide checkpoint. Not a great feeling, as Rin will continue to lose touch a little bit with the top three, and we'll finish up on Rackham. Heading towards our 4th match of this second semi-final. We're on to Real Ease, a map that is just, it's very stylish in its simplicity when seen from above like that, isn't it?
I love it. I honestly, this might be my favorite map of the entire first 25 weeks of Mini RPG of the Week, and that's not just because I'm biased because I had my top 10 finish here. I'm objectively bad at this map. My best time is still above a minute, right? I'm objectively bad, but still, I do like it. It's a lot of neat little tricks. It's a lot of very much visualizing the corner that's coming up for you. It's a lot about map knowledge, visualizing a corner, and then picking your breaking points accordingly to keep on carrying as much momentum as you possibly can throughout the entirety of that map. I think that's what makes it so special.
Yeah, and I really like the valley at the start. I think it's maybe an underappreciated or under-highlighted. It's not a flashy part of the map, but just trying to keep your wheels on the ground, not getting any airtime, and getting through that valley as quickly as possible as you go in on the left side, up on the right side. It's just really cool. It feels really fun to drive, in my opinion, as well.
It is, and it is also very punishing, because if you don't get that correct entry angle, you will get a lot of airtime, and you will lose so much speed. Same goes for the exit of the valley as well, as we see Hazard having a bit of trouble there with the backwards jump, and that's also one thing. It's not consistent, that one. Like, you think you have a good setup, but then, oh no, you all of a sudden don't have a good setup anymore, and you're forced to respawn, and costing you a lot of time.
Yeah, it just sounds like a skill issue to me there. And by the way, if anyone in chat is paying attention, we do have an exclamation mark skill issue. So if you see any of our drivers having a problem, you know, make sure to call them out a little bit as well with exclamation mark skill issue. Very important that we do that one. But hey, keep it positive as well. Hazard right now started behind, but is now going a little bit faster. Is managing to catch back up a little bit as the skill issue command will not proc that often. Don't worry. Yes. We'll head towards the back half of this map. Techie has been gained on a little bit, but is now regaining the lead, and it is going to come down to this finish. It's going to be a tight one, Mark.
It's going to be very tight between Turbo, Techie, and Hazard. Turbo, though, not the best entry into that last part now. Who gets the backwards jump? Both Techie and Hazard, both very clean. And look at the speed Hazard is able to get. He will surely finish in P1, but behind that, it's a crapshoot. Anyone can take it, and everyone will probably take it. Turbo in P2, Edis, P3, and Techie. He came back to it, right? He came back, but his backwards jump just left him with not enough speed.
Yeah, and it is one of those things that the first time that we watched this map played as well, you have to know your limits. You have to know when you're not going to make it. You need to figure out exactly how far you need to go. With time to practice, these players have definitely gotten better at it, but you can still potentially snipe someone at that finish line if you do just judge it a little bit better than them, and you can cost yourself big if you misjudge how far you're going to climb off that jump.
Especially if you go deep with it. The fact that there are the red boosters at the back there, it's just shifting the focus. Before you want to focus, okay, just get a clean run, just get a clean 180 and just go towards the end. But if you go deep, the red boosters just propel you forward at such a high rate that it's pretty much impossible to make that up if you have a substandard backwards jump.
Right now, Hazard sitting in third place, chasing down Zera and Rin. Techie a long way back on this round. The player in the top is going to have to regain a little bit in the next round. But right now, it comes down to this jump off the wall. Bang, they go. And Hazard is gaining. He has a little bit more speed going into this section than Zera and Rin. He goes very, very deep, looking to gain a lot of speed. But he went maybe too deep. And that's exactly what we're talking about. He still finishes close. If he just turned around a little bit quicker, he had more than enough speed to maybe try and catch them. It's such a hard thing to judge. I mean, it's easy. Armchair coaching at this point to say, like, yeah, if he'd gone half a second earlier on that, maybe he would have caught them. Maybe he wouldn't have made the finish though as well. And as it is, Hazard takes another third place. He's been consistent with those all evening long, mocked, and he continues to hold on to his second place overall on the scoreboard, but it continues to be tight at the top.
Consistency and speed very much key, and Rin with that 100 points, and with Techie at the same time messing up a little bit, he's putting himself back in that fight for P3, P2. He's not far away. It's 60 points, and there's still 2 rounds remaining on this map, and then another map at the end. And we've seen at Crystal Mine, anything can happen in Hazard, especially now struggling. If Rin is able to capitalize on that one, he could be in front, but he's 7 seconds behind.
It's going to make it a little bit harder to capitalize for sure. The battle at the top right now, though, and the player who also needs to capitalize a little bit on it, Techie, currently sitting in first. Zera just behind as well. Zera definitely looking like the breakout player here in this semi-final, looking very strong indeed. Has slowed down a little bit there in the middle, though. And that means Turbo, oh, he had the chance to snipe. It's going to be tough now for Turbo to get this bounce as he crashed into the previous corner. Goes very safe on it, but still crashes out and is going to have to go for a double respawn to get all the way back. Will get there. Techie takes a first place finish. Hazard does come back to take a second, and Zera with a third. Turbo will climb through, and Rin finally dropping down into 7th place. Techie gained the number 2 local record on that one. Worth noting as well, the best time that we saw in this semi-final so far. And that means Techie within 6 points of Hazard as we go into our last round on Realies.
Our top 3 are just crazy close together. They're within 20 points, which is, I mean, basically nothing at this point, right?
Nothing at all.
It's nothing at all. Like, and still we have Rin there lurking in the shadows. He's a bit further behind, but, you know, he's still lurking in those shadows. He's just waiting for his opponents to make mistakes. The problem is he's making a few too many for his own good. As Zera is now leading comfortably here in this last round on real ease. Hazard, though, struggling a little bit more down in P4.
Yeah, Hazard, the wheels catching off the edge there, and one mistake leads to another domino effect as he ends up falling a little bit off of that platform. We'll jump further up the field to where Techie is sitting just behind Rin and Zera. And Rin, I mean, it's all or nothing for the driver at the moment. He's so fast on some rounds, or he comes in P7 right now. This looks like it might be a P1 for Rin. It's going to be close down on this finish. Rin is going to go at exactly the same time as Zera, but that means he was a little bit deeper having entered first, and you could see it from how close they were to a full half a second gap. In fact, Techie nearly caught Zera just by going a little bit earlier on that booster. Turbo does recover up to a 4th place. Hazard drops to a 6th after falling off on the end there. And Edis will drop a long way down. But that's a much needed 100 points for Rin. He's still 60 points behind Hazard. Techie, meanwhile, does claim 2nd place as Hazard drops to 3rd.
Techie claiming P2 as we head into our last map of this semi-final. The top 3, honestly, not just the top 3 can take it at this point. Rin is still there with a shot, and we've seen how chaotic this map is. Don't count out Turbo. Yes, he's 120 points behind. Yes, that is a lot. He needs a lot of things going his way, but do not count him out in his entirety, because he's still there with a very, very outside shot. But of course, our top 3, Zera, Techie, and Hazard, are most likely going to be the 3 people that will be battling it out to make it into the final. We have 3 players there. Setter's favorite. We have to count it down to 2.
It's going to be so heartbreaking on whichever of these players doesn't manage to make it through at this point. As you say, only 2 can go through, and then we have our finals. And, well, there's only going to be 1 winner. Prize money for the top 3, though. That's going to be a little bit tough for whoever comes 4th in the final. I did note our 2nd place player in the other semi-final already asking if we could extend the prizing down to 4th place. I might maybe a little bit late at this point, unless they feel like donating themselves, but I think that probably defeats the purpose. We'll see how
do
things
everything
go when we get there.
Wikipedia tier. Get into tier
exactly.
2.
That's so. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's like up to €1,000 if you want to get into the next tier up. We're a long way off, is the answer, Mockfish. Of course, with €150 prize pool to be split between these players in our finals, but we still have to get there. There's still players in with a shot, plenty of them here in this 2nd semi-final, and we are underway in the Crystal Mines.
Yeah, underway, and let's see. Oh, Turbo just missed the bumper in its entirety. Meanwhile, Hazard with a beautiful start, just claiming that early lead, claiming a big lead as well, 6th, 10th over Rin, who is in P2, and he's doing exactly what he needs to do. He just needs to have the good finishes right now. Is Rin. Techie, though, is... Did Hazard crash? I just was switching camera.
A little bit. Yeah, Hazard crashed. He just didn't have the speed, didn't make it over the hump, and now he drops a long way back. That big respawn forced off of that one. Nalex is there. Techie, he's gone a little bit awkward. A wheel climbed the edge of the border on that one, but he still has the speed to make it through here. Any mistakes? Yes. Techie, it looks like maybe made the mistake. He's dripping. He's fallen. He's struggling a little bit here. He's going to be a long way back. I think the better option there, honestly, would have just been to go for a double respawn for him, but he chose not to, and that means that it a long way clear in front is Rin. Chased down by Edis. Hazard regains up to a 3rd place. Nearly goes for the bug slide, and many players not doing that at the moment. Hazard just looking to chase. I think these players are going to keep it clean to the end here, unless there's a bounce at the very finish.
Unless there's a bounce, that doesn't seem to be there. Hazard is trying to get P2, but he will not reach P2 in time. And Rin getting himself into that position. Rin doing exactly what he needs to do. Is it just hopium on my part? Especially with Zera. I mean, Zera is not necessarily the player that Rin needs to mess up, but it's not going to hurt him either way. Rin needs to win every single round now. He done a good start. He needs to do it again. As someone already bonked at the start was Edis.
Yeah, there's 1 point between Hazard and Techie right now, by the way. They are nearly identical.
I've totally noticed that.
Yeah, Rin bounces very high on that one, but still, doesn't matter. Still near the front. Zera and Alex are out to the early lead. Techie and Hazard are both very clear to this one. Very close. And Rin, with 100 points in the last round, will feel that he can gain on either of them as well. It is all to play for. It is round 2 on Crystal Mines. This backward section, it's worked out fine for the players so far, as Techie is just about going to make it up onto that ledge. He doesn't quite fall off. We saw players' wheels. They can climb up on the edge here. Techie slow on the turnaround. It works out. And now this is where things get messy. Hazard will get up, will get through. Techie choosing to go straight instead of going for the 360 means a little bit less speed potentially, but he is still right behind Hazard. And Rin, with a mistake up near the front, has fallen a long way back. It's a 2-horse race to the finish line.
2-horse race, Techie versus Hazard. Hazard going for the backslide. So is Rin. Techie, the only one not deciding to go for the backslide, has a lot more speed as a result. But he needs to air brake. He needs to break down. I think that it's going to cost him. He can't possibly reach Hazard now. Just needs to help. Do not bonk. Do not mess up. Did you see the slide happening? Did you see?
That was close. That was close. Rin so nearly catches up with Techie there. He doesn't quite manage to get him, though. There's still, a few thousandths of a second left there in the middle. But given that he is 40 points behind, every single one of those places matters right now. That is a point swing of 14 points between Rin and Techie, as it was a 7-point difference between those two positions. Rin drops a little bit further back as a result, and Zerar and Hazard will pull away from Techie a little bit, but it's all still within like 5 points, Mockfish. It's insane.
You say they pull away.
Yeah, they're just there.
The top three are within 9 points of each other. That is literally the difference between P1 and P2. So every round matters. We just have 2 rounds that are remaining. Hazard and Techie getting a strong start. Where is Zera? Is he far behind? He's not far behind at all. He's going. The top 3 are within 1/10 of a second.
Oh, Hazard goes so much higher. I'm a little bit worried for Techie here. Does he have the speed to make it up? He does, just about. And so all of the top 3 continue on top of each other as we head towards this middle section of the map. Techie losing touch with them a little bit, but there's so many potentials for crashes here. Hazard, Zera straight through. Techie takes the nose and he doesn't go for the 360. Zera, the big winner on that middle section, as Techie looks to catch back up. And Nalex is here just for good measure, just to throw someone else in the mix.
Just to maybe throw a spanner in the works, but now we go to this turnaround. Techie this time not going for the 180 bug slide either. Zera, very far jump, just a bounce, sticks the landing. I think a 1, 2, 3 are going to be standing unless there's a bounce. That was inches, millimeters,
find the speed,
millimeters away. Techie was so close to bounce away. I don't think it would have made a difference, but okay, last round. Let's see how the points are looking. I think it's going to be stupid close.
That was so close. Hazard had more speed, but didn't have he just wasn't close enough by millimeters. There's 1 point between our top 2. There's 1 point between the top 2, and Techie, if either of them fails, could still take it back from them. And honestly, well, Rin's a little bit too far back at this point, but still there's 3 players able to contest this one right now. And Techie, he just needs to keep it clean. It is out of his hands once he does that. Right now, his 2 opponents, Zera and Hazard, are right behind. Hazard has made a little bit of a mistake, but he's still very, very close.
Techie needs to finish P1, and then by definition, one of Zera or Hazard will be behind him, just because of the points distribution. I think if my math is correct, if I'm not a complete nutcase, I think that should be correct.
Just driving, all right? Just take
drive.
it on faith. Techie needs to come first.
Just win.
He needs to see Zera crashes. Zera crashes. But Techie did as well. Did Techie crash?
No, he got the speed. He got the speed.
He's fine. He's fine. All right, now Techie needs to get through. He's behind Hazard. He needs Zera not to catch back up. Zera a long way back down the field. Techie gaining on Hazard. Hazard could help put Zera through right here by keeping Techie behind him. Hazard is gaining a little bit, is getting a little bit further ahead, but is slow. He got a big slowdown. Techie might get this first place yet. He just needs to catch Hazard. Hazard has regained, has landed better. Just needs not to crash the finish. Hazard through in first. Techie in second. Zera is behind, but he is still sitting in third. No one else is close enough. What does that do to the points? Techie gains by 7 on Zera, and that will not quite be enough. He's behind by 10 points at the end. Hazard will come first in this semi-final. Zera will come second. And Techie, by the skin of his teeth, by 10 points after nearly 1,700 of them, after over 1,700 of them, will take third place in this semi-final.
I cannot believe everything was on the table for Techie. He just needed someone. He just needed one of Nalex, Edis, Lucky Server, or Rin to just be in P3, and it would have been fine. But no, everyone decided to not interfere with the top 3. Let the top 3 be the top 3. Let them do their thing. And with that, somehow Zera, after nearly completely whiffing that in the last map, just survives. Techie, he's not going to be in top 2. He's not going to win any money, but I think his valiant effort, he's won our hearts. He's won MVP for me.
Look, all right. I mean, Techie, I see you in chat there. Commiserations, an incredibly close match in the end. But I mean, if this is what happens to you every time you play a competition, you got to give me the heads up when you're playing more competitions, man, because I need to see more of that in my life. I need that level of excitement. Mocked, We have no time, though. We're going to head to a quick break. We're going to be back with the cup, with the finals, cup mode, 4 players, and we will be good to go. It's all going to come down to the wire. I mean, surely it can't be more exciting, this semi-final mocked, but hey, who knows? We will see you back here. Nobody go anywhere. It might be. Nobody go anywhere. We'll be back.